Robert Scoble, you know, I'm the other guy. And we've been working for about a year now on a book called Age of Context. I think we finally settled on a subtitle, which is how mobile sensors and data will change your life. We're looking at 5, actually, converging forces of technology. You know them already: mobile, social media, data sensors, and location-based technologies. We spent a year so far talking to over 1,000 people. It's a story that people in this room know a lot about the technology of it. We've looked for the stories that will be compelling to the rest of the 8 billion people on Earth. And we thank you all for being the source that this is about, and we hope we tell the story of technology pretty well, right?
And we're here to make sure we hear any of the latest leading edge stuff, because we have a couple weeks left of writing, and we can still get stuff in the book. And you guys are the ones who the rest of the world is going to be following. So some of the things that we've been seeing is that how sensors are changing wearable computers. This is a sensor platform from Google that's coming out next year. It knows where I'm looking. It knows where my eye is looking. It knows which way my head is turned, right? It comes on if I look up, right?
When did you get that Twitch?
3 months ago. It's the Saturday Night Live Twitch. And so we visited General Motors and Toyota and Oakley and wineries in Napa. I went to the largest ski resort in Aspen, and we went around the world to find out how these new technologies are going to change business and people's lives.
We talked to people in healthcare, not the healthcare officials who are still doing what they used to do, but people making sensors that you can take and eliminate invasive tests. Mothers who are tired of their kids not getting the right treatment with diabetes and asthma, and how technology is empowering them to do things that will make the quality of the children's lives better.
Some things we're noticing is for people, this has 2 impacts. One, we're going to get very personalized product. This product, Peter, if you put on my Google Glass, you see my email, my stocks, my calendar, my sports teams, and on and on. It's very personalized to who I am. And when you get yours will be personalized to who you are. And we're seeing, General Motors talked about this, that you're going to have a 3D sensor in General Motors cars soon that will recognize that you're sitting in the passenger seat and do things for you. Turn on your favorite Spotify music, or change the settings of the air conditioning system to who you are, or even watch your eyes and see that you're falling asleep as you're driving down the road and wake you up. So there's safety things that are going to come in with these sensor platforms as well. So the personalized thing is one thing. It's also going to let us have very assistive technologies. The code name for Google Glass was Wingman, because it is trying to assist me. So when I walk into an airport, like I did last week, it puts my plane ticket up in the glass, so I know what time the plane is leaving, when it's leaving, where is my gate number. And this is really cool when you're dragging two suitcases through an airport and you don't have the phone ready to look at.
There's a couple of things that all of the stuff we talk about seems to keep coming back to. One is people and their technology are going to get uncannily close together. And that creates some very freaky aspects that we're going to talk about. Got a whole chapter on privacy, which is the elephant in the book, I would say. The second thing is that technology is going to know our patterns and know our habits well enough to predict what we're going to do next.
Yeah. In fact, I got one tonight. Who's the developer for MileMe? Is he here? I know he's here because he gave me the app. Anyways,
they're hiding in the dark.
It's now watching my cell phone's patterns, so it knows when I took trips and builds a expense form for my expenses about mileage, right? And that's the kind of thing I'm seeing. The other thing that's happening because of all these 5 trends his business is going to really if you're in business, you're going to have a very complete idea of what's going on in your business to the point you're going to know predictably what your inventory tonight needs to be. In fact, the bar could have used our behaviors to know that they better stock up on some whiskey because I like whiskey, and right?
I didn't know you liked whiskey.
I do like
We're
whiskey.
supposed to stop talking.
Okay. And so if you guys have questions, we'll take them, right? Just one or two?
I want to take one microphone.
Oh.
Take one.
Okay, guys. There's a second thing that's happened to business, and that is that business is not just going to have a perfect idea of of their business. Like Uber knows every transaction, every customer, all on their mobile phone. But they're also going to know you very deeply. I just interviewed Aaron from MindTouch, and he built a customer support system that HTC and Remington guns they're using, and they really track everything you do, both on the website and when you call up. They know you in much deeper detail, and when they get to that point, then they can make a leap to being able to support you, but just by talking to a system. It's going to be pretty amazing. So,
if you have questions. The only request is let's not ask how glass works.
Are you going to recognize people, or should we just...
I've got a microphone.
Somebody down here who's the only one we can see with his hand up.
Got it.
There was a... There you go.
You guys were touching earlier on the elephant in the room, which is privacy, and the full chapter deck. Could you give us a little, taste of what you're discussing about?
Well, I can do it in one sentence. Your technology is going to know all about you. There's a lot of talk about Google Glass and what you can see. Well, that gets silly because if you went into a restroom and wanted to photograph something that you wasn't supposed to photograph, you would have to stare down in a certain area, and a little light would go off and you'd hear a ding, and I would fear for Robert's life. But on the other hand...
Okay, Glass. Record a video.
On the other hand, Google knows what he's looking at whenever he has that on. There is a sensor that is recording the data of everything he looks at.
Inside there's...
I just wanted to finish the sentence.
Inside there's a 16 by 16 eye sensor, right? And it's watching your eye where you're looking. And it has not been exposed as to what it's doing, but it is watching me full time.
So who owns that data is what concerns us. And even if, like Robert and I, we have a lot of respect for the people who run Google today, but who will run it 20 years from today? And can this be used by the NSA? Well, I think we know the answer to that. What about police investigation? You probably know the answer to that. What about in a spousal dispute when a husband and wife, one may be questioning where the other was one night? Can it be subpoenaed for that reason? These are unanswered questions. We conclude, to ruin the mystery, that there's so much wonderful stuff coming, so much transformative stuff to our lives that it's worth it. But we try to say there are going to be some unintended consequences. There are some unanswered questions. There's a lot of nuance and complexity to how it'll shake out.
My wife wears a Fitbit and she wears it in bed often. I have to think about the data on that. I have a sleep sensor that's monitoring my sleep now. I just got it last week. I have a Fitbit scale that's reporting how fat I am, on and on and on. And these sensors are getting so good. We saw a Prime Sense sensor from Israel, which is a 3D sensor that they made a sensor that, or they made the technology that Microsoft Kinect uses. But now it's sharper, it's lower latency, it's cheaper. I just heard about another company coming out of Israel that's going to make an even sharper and higher quality sensor for less than $10. So General Motors, when they say they're going to put 4 of these 3D sensors in your car, that's very affordable for them, and it won't add a lot to the cost of the car. It'll add a lot of utility, but that thing is doing massive stuff. You know that Xbox One this fall is going to be able to see your heart rate by looking at you. So it can tell how good you're engaging with their games, right? And more.
It's a new area.
Your home is going to be completely filled with sensors. Philips has a sensor going into a toothbrush that when you brush will know where you have a cavity and will send an SMS message to your dentist. Appliances are going to connect to each other. We wrote about 3, but I think we found 6 companies that have ways to do the holy grail of television. Find something that might interest you. But to do that, it has to understand your patterns and what you like to watch. Some companies will allow Scoble to keep the secret and not share with his Facebook friends that he has a passion for rendezvous.
I have secrets.
To answer the question, though, we should take one last question and get off the stage. Our time's running out. We're going to see a new world of... Oh, we're already out.
You gave us a microphone. You think
Yeah, we don't leave easily. Shutting Scoble up is hard. We're going to see a new era of have and have-nots. Not rich have and poor, but people who are willing to give their lives over to the system to get new experiences in life. Sort of like we all chose to get a Safeway loyalty card, right? And use it to get $2 off a bottle of wine or $3 off a package of hamburger meat, right? The new world is where there's going to be people like me who are going to totally dive into the system and give it everything. And there's going to be people who don't want to do that, and they're going to be at a disadvantage in the next society that's coming up.
That's when we'll put the chips in now, and then that'll be...
it's coming? I
just hung out this weekend. This book, it goes on and on. This weekend I was hanging out with brain scientists, surgeons, who are already putting probes into people's brains to change their behavior. They showed me a patient that had Parkinson's, and he couldn't hold his hand still. He turned on the probe, his hand went still. It's amazing stuff, and think about where that's going to lead in 20, 30, 40 years. It's a really freaky world to me.
We found a lady who was using brain waves to get an artificial hand. She has no arms. And she uses an artificial hand to do things for her. I asked her what was the first thing she asked her to do. She had to reach for a chocolate and feed her.
Good for her. Right now, we can talk all night, but the book is out in October.
Book is out in October.
And we'd love to get early feedback from this audience, because you guys know more about technology than any other audience in the world. So if you write me on Facebook or better yet, Gmail, Scoblizer at Gmail, we'll figure out how to get you the early PDFs of what's been edited already and see what you guys think.
Awesome. We'll share it.
Thanks.
What do you think?